Hi guys, just a bit of quick content. I was just doing a build here out of some second-hand parts, a 3570K in a Asus P8 Z68V Pro motherboard, just 4x2 Kingston HyperX Blues, 1600 C9 LP to chips, if anyone's keen on that side of things from back then. And if you are, TRFC timed up at 88. Which makes you think maybe they're hypers, whereas I thought they weren't even BBSE before. I thought they were BSDG or whatever. Anyway, that's for the memory, guys. 580 Sapphire RX 580, 4GB Nitro edition with a BIOS switch for 2 BIOSes. 700 watt thermal take power supply. Got Samsung Evo as a main drive, 120 odd gig, and a terabyte drive in there for storage. So I've got a Johnsbow CPU cooler. I've never tried them before. It looks the part. It's got RGB and stuff. I don't know if you can see it from there. There you go, see that thingy in there? That's some Johnsbow RGB cooler. Anyway, no, I reckon that I like a bit of innovation, you know. I'm not a fan of all of it, but if it's practical as well and it comes off well, and it's applied well, then good. Not much more to say except that RX 580 in a pure quad, not a hyper-threaded quad. I thought I've got some other scores surely out there from having done that with previous cards. I'll go and have a comparison. So I've got a comparison for you with a 3930K high-end desktop, so 6 cores, 12 threads. Obviously benchmarks don't tell the full story for everything, but this is just an interesting comparison, I think. It's overclocked on this score, has gone a little higher. It was at 5 gig on all 12 threads locked in. Memory would have been running at about 2400 at CAS latency 9. So well and truly in front of the base system that's behind this one. How much difference did it make? What do you reckon? We're talking TimeSpy, 3D Mark TimeSpy score. Total score percentage, what do you reckon? And, you know, the graphics scores themselves, do you think they were affected much by the throughput from the CPU, or anything like that? Let's find out. This is the system, by the way. And that's that Johnsbow cooler. Zone fan right in the middle there. It isn't supposed to have one at the front per se. Anyway. Now, 13% difference in total score. The TimeSpy will show you a larger difference than most graphics card scores will too, because of the different physics testing and stuff like that. But yeah, so you go run Heaven Benchmark or something like that. You should do it. You wouldn't notice as much of a difference. You know, people posting builds for sale online and whatnot. So, you know, I mean, if you go buy a 3930K and put it on a, you know, Rampage 4 Extreme and buy the right stuff and buy a quad kit of DDR3 that was any good, vast price difference. You know, you just couldn't do it, and most people wouldn't do it from scratch these days. You know, it's only the enthusiasts. So, you know, it's a budget build. Obviously, it's not to a huge price, but it hasn't got an Intel board in it, a green Intel board. It hasn't got a Q board. It hasn't got a B board. It's got a Z board, so it's a proper overclocking motherboard. It's got a proper overclocking CPU in it, albeit missing a couple of threads you get on i7 side. The memory, you could go to 16 gig, but arguably, what would you? I mean, if you're trying to get quality and performance per se, you wouldn't necessarily need to go more memory. And a lot of people, depending on what they're playing, wouldn't need to, especially at high definition 1080 gaming. You know, it's a good mode. It's got power, onboard power and reset buttons and stuff like that. So. Those Sapphire Nitro cards have been a good one. 2 HDMI, 2 display port, 1 DVI at the back as well. Anyway, so yeah, you can see it there for yourself. I mean, obviously that's where the breakdown is. Now, graphics card test 1, not a lot of difference. Graphics card test 2, not a lot of difference. So the graphics card was getting as much information as it needed basically. You can see the CPU test is definitely, it's always going to be down against the monster that it was up against. But yeah, okay. So I don't know if there's any need for me to waffle on you more than that. I might point out we're talking the difference between, there's another variable. When I did the other testing with the RX 580 with an 8 gig card, this is a 4 gig card, which hasn't made a hell of a lot of difference. I don't think it makes much difference at all, except for the bus clock part of it. 2000 to 1750, you probably clocked that at 2000, I haven't tried. Anyway, bit of info. So just a bit more info, you know what I mean? I keep posting more and more bits and pieces as I go on different things, and haven't had much time lately because, yeah, a bit of strife, poor missus. But yeah, I've still got plenty to do, some testing. I've got a Z77 Extreme board here that needs some testing for someone. If it works, it'll go on sale online, or it'll go into a build. Probably it's not worth putting it into a build. You get more value out of the quality part, I think. But yeah, there's more videos I still haven't finished off from before that I've got to get back to. But this will be a quick one. So please like, subscribe, and all that sort of stuff. I'm just the little bloke. I'm just trying to provide information, reference points and stuff like that for people so that they can go out there and have a bash themselves, really. I was always looking for reference points when I was doing it early on. Still do today, to some degree. I mean, when I got back into overclocking to get a couple of things going, just, you know, on water cooling overclock sort of thing, a couple of DeBauer videos and bit of, not so much, Dr. Wees was more in depth for the enthusiast side. But Joe Stepongs is out there, and he's got some good vids too. So yeah, you know, Kingpin stuff's probably more graphics card related these days than what's in house at EVGA with tin. But you know, it's not always easy to find the references you want. It's not always easy to weed through the bullshit. But hopefully this will help, and I'll keep trying to post this sort of content. Posting the link somewhere to share it with other people would really help me. It's popping up more of my stuff in suggested videos, which is apparently what's needed. I've been reading up on YouTube a little bit, but any help you can give